This map shows the maximum range of China's land-based conventional strike missiles in 2015. Less than a decade later, that range has doubled, putting all American bases in the Asia-Pacific, including Guam, within the range of precision missiles fired from the Chinese mainland. A secretive Chinese military unit is responsible for that expansion and now controls one of the largest and most diverse land-based missile forces in the world. Details of the force are some of China's most tightly guarded secrets. But Western intelligence agencies and researchers have revealed evidence of its dramatic rise.
China has rapidly increased its missile arsenal. This is a menacing challenge to the United States.
In August 2023, Chinese leader Xi Jinping suddenly ousted and replaced the head of an opaque military unit called the Rocket Force. China's leaders have tasked this force with its highest military objective: preparing for a possible invasion of Taiwan and deterring the United States from intervening. In recent years, the force has test-launched hundreds of ballistic missiles at a rate that has exceeded the rest of the world combined. Alexander Neal is a former defence analyst for the British government.
The PLA rocket force has 6 bases spread across China in an arc in the south, which are responsible for a potential Taiwan conflict. Then up in the northeast, which is responsible for Korean Peninsula and targeting Japan. There's a dedicated base in central China, and finally a base which is responsible for the northwest of China.
On top of these 6 main bases, which are numbered from 61 to 66, the Rocket Force also has several supporting bases, one of which is regarded as the most important.
Base 67 is the most secretive of the PLA Rocket Force bases, the guardian of China's strategic nuclear deterrent.
Little is known about the base in Baoji City in central China, but bunkers dug into the Qingling mountain range on the outskirts of the city houses most of China's nuclear warheads stockpile.
From Base 67, the warheads are subsequently distributed by rail all across China, northwest, northeast, and into the south, across the brigades responsible for launch and deployments of the nuclear deterrent.
The bases in China's north are tasked with maintaining nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missiles focused on targets on the US mainland.
A number of scientists looking at civilian imagery spotted 3 new missile silo fields under development. The silo fields are based in very desertified areas outside of Hami, Yumen City and Ordos City.
Silos are built as circular tubes into the ground and contain propellants to launch missiles.
You can see here the Ordos silo field, which is typically made up of about 100 silos here. An important aspect of silo fields is something called a shell game. You might have 100 silos, but you may fill only 50% of them. And the adversary has to calculate which of those silos are armed in order to make a calculation for a counter-strike. And a shell game is designed to keep the adversary guessing and also to reserve your own number of warheads as well.
The construction in Ordos, Hami and Yumen is thought to be the most extensive build-up of missile silos since the Cold War. If China mounts nuclear warheads on missiles in these silos, it would present a huge strategic shift for US military planners.
You can see here that the arc of the 3 silo fields is designed to launch missiles over the North Pole and to the continental United States.
All this could give Beijing the military capability to deter Washington from engaging China militarily in the event of an invasion of Taiwan. The Rocket Force recently demonstrated its capability to strike Taiwan during a conflict.
Subordinate to Base 61 are a number of brigades involved in the targeting of Taiwan during missile tests when Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan in August 2022.
China conducted several days of military exercises.
A number of short and intermediate range missiles were launched into exclusion zones to the north and south of Taiwan. One of them was to the eastern seaboard, and there were also some short-range rocket firings between Taiwan and Fujian province.
China has been building up its missile capacity near Taiwan for years, but drills during Pelosi's visit demonstrate the rocket force's new capability to target the entire periphery of Taiwan.
These brigades are one of the sharpest tools in their arsenal to mount a devastating missile attack on the island, to blockade the island, to close off shipping lanes, and to mount a stranglehold on the island during times of political sensitivity.
China views Taiwan's autonomy and its links with the US as a geostrategic vulnerability.
So if we flip the map, it depicts the challenge that China is facing. It's hemmed in to some degree by the first island chain, and to a lesser extent by the second island chain. It's a dilemma of oceanic geography, but in a military sense, this is why the rocket force is so important. The rocket force would play a key role to prevent intervention of the United States and allies were war to break out over Taiwan.
The rocket force has developed missiles capable of striking US forces, coming to Taiwan's aid, within the first and second island chains. One of these is the Dongfeng 26, known as the Carrier Killer. The weapon has been deployed to a number of brigades, posing a challenge to the US.
The DF-26 can be either conventionally armed or nuclear armed. It can accurately target bases like Guam, but it can also target an aircraft carrier strike group. So this presents a major challenge for the United States in terms of its counter-intervention campaign.
The Biden administration has said US forces will support Taiwan in the event of a Chinese invasion. China's rocket force now presents a serious threat to the US's ability to do that, dramatically raising the stakes in any conflict over the island. China's Ministry of Defense did not respond to a request for comment.